Hello, Anderson County. This is Councilman Brett Sanders recapping February the 6th, 2024's council meeting. Fairly short meeting. Couple little things. Up in the Slabtown area, there was motion or a rezoning of 1.5 acres where the old Slabtown Cafe is from rural agriculture or residential agriculture to rural commercial, which will allow an operator to go back in and open the restaurant. I think they're going to do like a farmer's market type thing there. So I'm glad to see that that building is being repurposed and reused in that community and area. And I think it'll be a great fit and it'll be a good thing for the locals around there and the citizens of Anderson County as well. We also had codename Project Turkey, which is an existing warehouse here in Anderson County. And the company was sold, and the company that bought the warehouse is turning it into manufacturing with 200 jobs. It was a $36.3 million investment. Taxes last year, I think, on the property was $21,000, and moving forward, it'll be over $50,000 a year. So I'm glad to see existing facility be revamped or to be converted into a manufacturing facility from warehouse to creating jobs, and excited about the investment there. That's up above 81, right off the interstate. I'm not sure, I almost gave it away, Greg. I'm not sure if we can actually say who it is yet or not, but it's codename Project Turkey. Also, we had an ordinance to amend our planning department deal or planning commission. If a project currently is denied through the planning commission, the prospect or the applicant does have the right to appeal it. And once it is appealed, it's basically saying until the appeal is followed through, you can't come back and resubmit it. That way you're not just resubmitting multiple things like throwing spit up against a paper up against a wall to see what's going to stick here. So basically that will cut down on, help ease the burden on that. Plus it will also allow the person whose project has been denied, if it's been denied for specific reasons, which if it's denied it should be, it does allow and continues to give them the time frame to actually correct the issues at hand and then come back, and if they're still not satisfied, they are allowed to appeal it. So it's kind of a boring stuff for most things on the legality or legal side of things, but I think at first I was a little concerned about it and met with Mr. Harmon today, and we discussed over the issues and how it actually works and falls in. So just want to make sure that our parties are selling properties, someone that's investing property like the $36.3 million investment that we see going on, that everyone's treated equally. And I think this ordinance will help to do that. Also, tonight we had an inoperable radar sign, the little towable signs you see usually in rural areas, and the town of Williamson requested it. Was broken, and we voted to allow them to have it, and I think they have someone there that's going to try and repair it and put it back in service. So glad to see that's being recycled. Also tonight we voted first reading to allow 2 more at-large members on the library board. And basically, I know I've had a lot of texts. We've had some people speaking in opposition of it tonight, but each council member gets to appoint a person on the library board. A council person's term is 2 years. The library board term is 4 years. Any other committees that we have as council and as a county is at the will of council. So that means if I have somebody on the planning commission or some other committee that I don't feel is doing the job or not satisfactory to the job at hand, they are allowed at the discretion of council to be replaced. Also, if a new council member comes on and the old council member leaves, that new council member has that option to appoint someone that he wants to serve on those committees.
If they're available.
Yeah, if they're available.
That doesn't seem like this fixes very much because you
Yeah.
still hadn't fixed the problem.
Yeah, but the thing on this is basically what happens now, the term on the two at large is a 2-year term. So what happened there is at least if a 4-year term for the library, council has 2-year terms. If a council member is gone, the new member coming on does not have input on those following those 2 years left remaining. With the at large, at least I think the council member would have someone that serves on a 2-year and would have input in selecting at least 2 of those members. I heard tonight some good arguments. You know, they don't want to politicize the library, and I think I don't think the library is a place to be politicized, but I think that this will allow council members to have their voice when they don't have a seat available. Plus, I think the State House is working on a bill at the State House level to match the terms to council terms. So we will have to see how that works out, and I know that like any other thing that we put on, if it's not what we decided or what we want to see or what the public wants, I think that we have the right to repeal those 2. We still don't have the right to change a 4-year term seat. So a touchy subject, but I think if it's planned right and done well, I know that the 2 at-large members, I think some of the people that spoke tonight, I think they were under the impression that, hey, the council of people is going to select who they want to go on there, which they will, but it will be a process of applications. Anyone that wants to apply, if you would like to apply to the board, feel free to contact Renee, Clerk of Council.
We won't open those, though, until the 3rd reading.
Yeah, I mean, this is if this passes. And the thing is, the public is allowed to be there, have input. All council members will be there, like we did the last, I think it was the Planning Commission members. All council has the right to address and question and interview the applicants, plus the public will be there and have input as well. So I think it'll be a non-political. I know that, you know, we want that. I know there's some things that, you know, you hear arise. There's a lot of rumors, other things going around. I just like to see the library people continue to use it, enjoy it, and hopefully this will allow overall council to have a single term as a council member term that aligns with that, to allow someone that's coming on council to at least have the possibility in their term to make an input. So we'll see how that goes out. Like I said, that was first reading. What else do we have? And we had which I'm happy that was brought up, we had a bid on a boiler for the Civic Center. It was $277,000 boiler. Once we got to looking, there was only 2 people that bid, 2 companies that bid. One was a company out of Spartanburg. The one is a local company here in Anderson. And, you know, Councilman Davis and I were talking, I think someone else brought it up, it may have been Miss Wilson, in the meeting, that the local firm, I mean, there was a very, very minute difference in the bid amounts. And I know council has a local option or a percentage in there, and we just wanted to make sure and clarify that that percentage was taken into account on the bids that was sent to council. Also, the local company here is the one that has won the bid on doing the heating and the air and some other things out there. So, I mean, they have a good lay and understanding of what's going on right there. If you have a problem, they're local and can come out there. And I am a firm believer in, you know, I want everything to stay local. And it's just like we voted to do CM at risk at night, which is construction management at risk on the new jail. And the difference between that and just a hard bid, if you hard bid a project that's, you know, 3 to 5 years out during completion, and you got to present a number today on that, I think it's very hard, especially in today's economy. So you tend to get the added layer of protection from the contractor and the subs, or the padding of the bid, which I don't blame them. You know, you're taking a huge risk, so they not really exaggerate, but they overinflate the price as a risk contingency. So going under CM at risk, it is a bid process. Each bid goes out, and the bids come in, we see the bid, and the contractor gets a percentage for doing the work and the progress. Also under the hard bid, I think it required a $70 or $80 million bond. That's great, these big companies have that, but under the hard bid process, local qualified people that could handle that project or aspects of that project can't bid on that project because they don't have the recommended bond, and under CM at risk, the general contractor is able to break jobs down into certain packages or compartments, I call them, and that will allow qualified local contractors and subs to come in and bid on that particular section of the project. So like I said earlier, I'm a firm believer in spending local and trying to keep the tax dollars here. I mean, our citizens here are paying taxes, and the term I like is, I like to see those tax dollars recycled and being spent back with local contractors, workers. I know you and I, every Christmas we sit down and, for the last 6 years, 5 years that I've been on council, we promote shopping local. And I'm glad to see that council supports the CM at risk. I think it will allow more contractors to come in and bid, and will make a more competitive bidding process, and will save the taxpayers money. So that pretty much.
Do you think if you weren't an experienced businessman, you'd be able to understand this?
I don't know. I don't look at myself as an experienced businessman. I just think
But you are.
I'm a common sense kind of person. And then, if I come in and go, hey, Greg, we're going to buy a new phone. I'm going to buy it in 5 years from now. How much will you sell me that phone for? And you got to build that phone to sell it to me. Well, in 5 years, you don't know the internal parts cost. You don't know, so you're making a guesstimate. And if today's market for that phone is $100, you're like, well, in 5 years, I'm not sure what it's going to be, or I'm going to figure it at $250. And if it comes in higher, guess what? They come, we're a little, they charge you. Oh, Brett, I missed that, you owe me. Or if it comes in at $150, guess what? You keep the other $100. So under CM at risk, it's like, hey, I'm going to have this phone. The phone right now is $100. We will bid it out in pieces as we build it over these years, so you get to take advantage of current market prices at that time instead of trying to forecast it, 3 to 5 years out. And I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but I think.
So you are an experienced local businessman. That helps you understand this.
Well, yeah.
You answered my question, I think.
Well, I don't want to complicate things, and it's not.
It can be kind of.
It is very complicated, and someone that doesn't experience or work in that area or utilize or use it on a daily basis has no idea. And I hope if anyone's got any questions on it, feel free to reach out. But I kind of look at it. I've dealt with things of that nature, and I look at it as, hey, this is common sense. It's going to be cheaper and save me money, which now I'm in an elected position. Now I'm saving the taxpayers money, and whatever we can do to pinch that penny, I want to see done, and whatever we can do on that penny we pinched and we can spend it local, I want to see it spent local. So it's just, it can get complicated, but it's really a very simplistic thing. I just don't think that I did a great analogy in explaining it, but it's good stuff, and I'm glad to see that our fellow council members, before, I know a lot of people think we come in here and, we just talked about this, but no, I mean, I have discussed it. I've had meetings with potential contractors on building the jail, and when they come in, we send out, I think the procurement department sent it out as a hard bid. Well, the people we sit down with and talked in the interview process just to fill out the contractors, they came in pretty much assuming, I thought this was a CMAR project, and they kind of, wait a minute, it kind of scared them off a little bit. And then some of the larger companies that are more, well, they're all experienced. We had good people we interviewed, good companies. They're all capable of doing it, but there are some larger companies that primarily just concentrate on building those type of facilities, and they didn't even bid. Hey, we don't do hard bid. I mean, this is crazy. We're not treating the customer fair. Plus, it's leaving a liability out there for them as well. So, I think once we voted now to go this direction, it will go back out to bid under that, and I think we'll see more players joining in the game, and it's going to make it more competitive and save money. Because right now, all the things that we have now is really, well, this jail, I mean, the state is pretty much coming in and making us build a jail. Well, this jail, I knew they were talking about the jail when I got on 5 years ago, and the information we had then, $50 million. We can build this jail for $50 million. And, 2 years later, 3 years later, it's 65 million, it's 70 million. So I think the CMAR will do away with a lot of the guesstimate and the estimating, and I think our estimates now, with inflation and things of that nature, I truly feel that number that we're thinking it's going to be higher. I mean, just based on the economy and what we see right now. But hopefully, as we progress into the year, I think, I've been reading and see where, they're forecasting dropping the rates some. So hopefully some of the pressures and things of that will ease up, and we will get it into a more competitive. But my thing now is, I understand the bid and the estimating thing, but hey, I want to see hard numbers now. And I think the CMAR will allow us to start seeing how close our estimates are based on inflation, the ability to hire subs. And I think, some of the contractors that are general contractors and companies we interviewed, a lot of them, which I thought was key is, hey, the sub market is very competitive and everyone's busy. But some of these larger companies that come in, they have their own subs, and their subs know that, hey, when things are bad, this company's still keeping food on my table. They follow these companies all across the United States doing projects. So I think the companies that have their subs, one of them, a couple are local companies that have a dedicated sub base that's what I'd like to see. I want to see local subs getting money, some of their tax money back as they're doing a project, instead of the tax money that it's costing us to build this facility. Well, guess what? It's going to Joe Blow out here in Arkansas or Kansas, and he's the one reaping the rewards and getting to spend that money in Kansas. So anything that my goal is anything that we can keep local and qualified local people and contractors that know what they do. And on a project this scale, I'm going to say local will be some going out of the Anderson County area, but I would love to see, us tap into as much upstate South Carolina companies that we can have instead of seeing these things start going out into other states. And we'll see how it plays out. Some things we may not be able to, but you got me. I'm rambling on here. We had a very short council meeting, but I appreciate the opportunity to sit here with you and try and share what's going on. Do you have any more questions for me?
No.
Okay. Well, if anyone else has any questions out there, feel free to contact me. My number's on our county website. My direct cell is my email. So don't hesitate to reach out, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this.